or restaurants. Sajmali sideritis tea is enormously beloved, and a part of the daily routine for most Albanians. It is cultivated across southern Albania and noted for its medicinal properties. Black tea with a slice of lemon and sugar, milk, or honey is also popular. Albanian wine is also common throughout the country, and has been cultivated for thousands of years. Albania has a long and ancient history of wine production, and belongs to the old world of wine-producing countries. Its wine is characterized by its sweet taste and traditionally indigenous varieties. The former grounds of the headquarters of Radio Tirana in the capital of Tirana. Radio Televizione Shqiptare RTSH was initially inaugurated as Radio Tirana in 1938 prior to the World War II. The freedom of press and speech, and the right to free expression is guaranteed in the Constitution of Albania. 357 Albania was ranked 84th on the Press Freedom Index of 2020 compiled by the Reporters Without Borders, with its score steadily declining since 2003. Nevertheless, in the 2020 report of Freedom in the World, the Freedom House classified the freedoms of press and speech in Albania as partly free from political interference and manipulation. Radio Televizione Shqiptare RTSH is the National Broadcaster Corporation of Albania, operating numerous television and radio stations in the country. The three major private broadcaster corporations are Top Channel, Televizione Clan and Vision Plus, whose content are distributed throughout Albania and beyond its territory in Kosovo and other Albanian-speaking territories. Albanian cinema has its roots in the 20th century and developed after the country's declaration of independence. The first movie theater exclusively devoted to showing motion pictures was built in 1912 in Shkodër by an Austrian distribution company with strong efforts by Albanian painter Kolit Romino. The opening of other movie theaters followed by 1920 in Shkodër, Berat, Tirana, and Vlora. During the People's Republic of Albania, Albanian cinema developed rapidly with the inauguration of the Kino Studio Shqiperia e Re in Tirana. 361 in 1953, the Albanian Soviet epic film, The Great Warrior Skanderbeg, was released chronicling the life and fight of the medieval Albanian hero Skanderbeg. It went on to win the international prize at the 1954 Cannes Film Festival. In 2003, the Tirana International Film Festival was established, the largest film festival in the country. Durres is host to the Durres International Film Festival, the second largest film festival, taking place at the Durres Amphitheatre. Albanian folk music is a prominent part of the national identity, and continues to play a major part in overall Albanian music. Folk music can be divided into two stylistic groups, mainly the Northern Gig varieties, and Southern Lab and Tusk varieties. Northern and Southern traditions are contrasted by a rugged tone from the north, and the more relaxed Southern form of music. Many songs concern events from Albanian history and culture, including traditional themes of honor, hospitality, treachery, and revenge. The first compilation of Albanian folk music was made by two Himeriot musicians, Niso Muka and Koso Sakali, in Paris, during their work with Albanian soprano Teftatash Kokoso. Several gramophone compilations were recorded at the time by the three artists, which eventually led to the recognition of Albanian isopolyphony as a UNESCO intangible cultural heritage. Festivali I Këngjes is a traditional Albanian song contest organized by the national broadcaster Radio Televizione Shqiptare RTSH. The festival is celebrated annually since its inauguration in 1962 and has launched the careers of some of Albania's most successful singers, including Baysel and Parashkivi Samaku. It is significantly a music competition among Albanian performers presenting unreleased songs in premiere, composed by Albanian authors and voted by juries or by public. Contemporary artists Rita Ora, Bibi Rexha, Era Strufi, Dua Lipa, Ava Max, Playona, Elvana Gjata, Ermonella Jaho, and Invamua have achieved international recognition for their music, while soprano Ermonella Jaho has been described by some as the world's most acclaimed soprano. Albanian opera singer Simira Pirgu was nominated for the 2017 Grammy Award. Every cultural and geographical region of Albania has its own specific variety of costume that vary in style, material, color, shape, detail, and form. Presently, national costumes are most often worn during special events and celebrations, mostly at ethnic festivals, religious holidays, weddings, and by performing dance groups. Some elderly people continue to wear traditional clothing in their daily lives. Clothing was traditionally made mainly from local materials such as leather, wool, linen, hemp fiber, and silk. Albanian textiles are still embroidered in elaborate ancient patterns. The Albanian language comprises an independent branch and is a language isolate within the Indo-European family of languages. It is not connected to any other known living language in Europe. Its origin is conclusively unknown, but it is believed to have descended from an ancient Paleo-Balkan language. The cultural renaissance was first of all expressed through the development of the Albanian language in the area of church texts and publications, mainly of the Catholic region in the northern of Albania, but also of the Orthodox in the south. The Protestant reforms invigorated hopes for the development of the local language and literary tradition, when cleric Jan Bazuku translated the Catholic liturgy into Albanian, trying to do for Albanian what Martin Luther had done for German. Mishari, the Missal written by Jan Bazuku, was published in 1555 and is considered one of the first literary work of written Albanian during the Middle Ages. The refined level of the language and the stabilized orthography must be the result of an earlier tradition of written Albanian, a tradition that is not well understood. However, there is some fragmented evidence, predating Bazuku, which indicates that Albanian was written from at least the 14th century. The earliest evidence dates from 1332 AD with a Latin report from the French Dominican Guillaume Sadae, Archbishop of Antivari, who wrote that Albanians used Latin letters in their books although their language was quite different from Latin. Other significant examples include a baptism formula und pagessen premeditatit et birit et spurtit senate from 1462, written in Albanian within a Latin text by the Bishop of Durres, Palangeli, a glossary of Albanian words of 1497 by Arnold von Harf, a German who had traveled through Albania, and a 15th-century fragment of the Bible from the Gospel of Matthew, also in Albanian, but written in Greek letters. Albanian writings from these centuries must not have been religious texts only, but historical chronicles too. They are mentioned by the humanist Marin Barletti, who in his book Siege of Shkodër Thimiaj Kodres from 1504, confirms that he leafed through such chronicles written in the language of the people in vernacular lingua, as well as his famous biography of Skanderbeg, Storia de Vita et Justis Skanderbegi Epirotorum Principis, History of Skanderbeg from 1508. The history of Skanderbeg is still the foundation of Skanderbeg studies and is considered an Albanian cultural treasure, vital to the formation of Albanian national self-consciousness. During the 16th and the 17th centuries, the Catechism im Beswain Krishtir, Christian teachings from 1592, written by Leka Matrenga, Doctrina e Krishtir, the Christian doctrine from 1618, and Ritu alla Romanon 1621 by Peter Budi, the first writer of original Albanian prose and poetry, an apology for George Castri at 1636 by Frank Barthe, who also published a dictionary and folklore creations, the theological philosophical treaty Cunius Prophetarum, the Band of Prophets 1685 by Peter Bogdani, the most universal personality of Albanian Middle Ages, were published in Albanian. The most famous Albanian writer in the 20th and 21st century is probably Ismail Kadare. He has been mentioned as a possible recipient of the Nobel Prize in Literature several times.